Random questions practice number 15. Do you have an app on your phone that you use even though you hate it? Oh, I had, not now. Uh, before that, before maybe 2 weeks ago, uh, I had one app in my phone. It's called Neighbor. It's very familiar and popular app in Korea, and uh, we we Korean usually use this app as a like a Google. So, but for me, the main purpose of using Neighbor is to see the um, read the news article, and actually it's quite addictive. So maybe uh, earlier of this year and last year, using Naver app to see to read news article was quite my bad habit, and it took a lot of time in my life. Uh, Sometimes because every day I write down my time spending, and maybe earlier of this year and last year, whenever I saw the time recording, usually using Naver app uh, could take part around 2 or 3 hours maximum usually. So it's quite a very terrible thing. But sometimes I couldn't stop that because it's so addictive. And uh, when I got a cue and got a signal, and after that, as soon as I turn on, as soon as I open the Naver app, maybe 2 hours later, I could find myself still using that app, and it's already uh, regretful behavior. But still, I couldn't stop, even though I noticed that. I finally noticed that I was using that. So it's quite terrible thing, and so I tried to get away from it. And finally, I found one way uh, that was not uh, uninstalling the app or any other technique. I just changed my identity from bad habit person to good habit person. Um, This is teaching from the remarkable book Atomic Habits, written by James Clear. Maybe 90% of people watching this video already know that, already know already knows that book, and also maybe of some of the people already try to adapt that teachings in their life. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that I try to adapt adapted that skill too. That's I think uh, maybe I cannot say that. I cannot say that it's just a simply technique. So it would be better to say as a teaching, because the value of that book is not only for not only for technique, that also teach many things in our life. So the word teaching could be better than the word technique to explain this book. this remarkable and marvelous book. Anyway, so that the main way how I change my bad habit, how I eliminate how I eliminated that bad habit is using the teaching of atomic habits. So the main teaching of the atomic habit is that we have to change our identity first, because identity is the our fundamental in our everyday life and everyday habit that consists of uh, our activity in daily basis. So in in some point, at some point, I'm not sure. Uh, I cannot point out exactly when I started to stop using Neighbor app. But maybe uh, that is that point is highly related to the day I started to read Atomic Habits again, because it's quite shameful that it took so much time to finish. It took so much time for me to finish that book, Atomic Habits, even though the the because the book is not that thick. The book is quite skin, quite not narrow. Oh my god. What's the opposite word of thick? Thinner, quite thin. The book, even though the book is quite thin, maybe it took 2 months, around 2 months. So it's quite shameful for me. Anyway, I finished that book 2 days ago, and I'm also a little bit proud of myself about that. Anyway, the first main teaching of that book is that we have to change our identity to change our habits. That's the first thing. And slowly, identity also changed, and finally, I could stop using Naver. And why I hate it? Why did I hate to use that? Because that's the main obstacle for me to improve my English. Because Naver app is Naver app is in Korean, so the meaning that I use Naver app means that I still use Korean, and using Korean is one of the main enemy for me to improve my English, because my main strategy to improve English is that I have to get immersed fully in English life, in everyday English environment. To adapt that skill, I mean immersing in English, I has changed so many things in my life from Korean to English. First I changed my language setting in phone, my smartphone from Korean to English, and I also changed the language setting in my laptop from Korean to English. I started to buy English book, and almost throw away so many things written by in Korean in terms of my everything, possessions, items, everything. But I still used. I found that I was. I found that I found myself still using Korean app Naver. So finally, anyway, I changed it, and I don't use it anymore. So I'm a little happy. And the more happy thing is that finally I filled up 10 minutes. So I'm proud of myself today, even though I'm exhausted, I finished my today's practice and training again. So that's all for today, and I'm very happy and see you tomorrow.